Okay, quick video for first impressions of the Meze, I think, Empyrean, I think that's what it's called, and the Audeze LCD-X. I'm sorry for the lack of B-roll. There is actually a B-roll. This is the one for the Meze that'll be coming up. Neurofit, you're a savage. Thank you very much. Helping make this whole thing much more fun. Let me get to the Meze first. Here's the thing. I need a cable like these cables, which is terminating into XLR so that I can go into the Jotunheim out of the same hole. That's my favorite hole. I want to keep going out of that hole. Okay? So everything's about variables and removing them if you can, and that's a variable that doesn't need to be a variable. I can always run headphones out of that. Doesn't matter if the headphones need it or not. Whatever that Jotunheim 2 is putting on them, I want to put on every headphone that I listen to, including ones I've got to go review again because I want to do it out of that. IEMs will always come out of the ADI 2 DAC. My brain's become accustomed to it, and I do it. So there's consistency there in my mind. I don't feel any, like I use something different. I always do that with IEMs, and Jotunheim 2 is going to always be with headphones, but I lack the cable to do that with the Meze and the Audeze. Let me bring that up really quick because the Audeze was sent to me by a person in the headphone community who I have never met in my life, and it was sent faster than any headphone shop had sent it, like Audio 46 or some well-known, good shipping, everything goes fine. This was faster than that. I don't know if this guy's got friends in the postal community or something, but that was very fast. And I said yesterday that I need a cable to proceed. And another person, totally unrelated, says, I got an extra copper one that works with those Mezes and the Audezes. Why don't I just go ahead and send that over to you? No problem. Thank you. Yeah. The headphone community is pretty dope. Very chill. I'm very stoked. So these first impressions are coming off of the ADI 2 DAC out of the quarter jack, the stereo jack. The Meze is very powerful. It's the most comfortable headphone I've ever put on my head. I'm trying not to swear because I don't want to. I don't know who's got kids listening in the background. Kill Jill. I listen to other stuff, but the substantial power of the hit from the Meze I was surprised. Nobody had said to me, or I just didn't hear them. You love your low end. You like it to be done well, not too. I don't want bass bleeding into the mids. I don't want my vocals to be crowded out by a bass line. They can both live together, but I want the bass to sound as it's supposed to. And when it sounds prominent and it's mixed in that way, I want it to. The Meze does that very well. It does the bass line on Black Sabbath Sweetleaf very well, and it does it clean. And the drums sound great. On Kill Jill, the lowest of the three triple hit is substantial, about as much as I've heard it on any other set. And that's going out of the ADI 2 DAC. The Meze it's got potent low end, it's got great mids. This is so far, not XLR. The treble sounds not in my face, which means that would be a set that I could see myself listening to for several albums. Like go through the Beatles, go through a Led Zeppelin album, go through Pink Floyd, listen to Money and Time without any real fatigue because of all the high energy up there, because it's there, but it's not in a fatiguing manner. And my God, are those comfortable. Holy shit, that is an epic set. The Audeze LCD-X is something that's going to have to make me change my intro, which says no EQ used ever. The people that own Audeze and love them say use EQ. This is different than I'm used to because I usually get stuff before most people get it, and then if I say you need EQ, I'm out of here. Like people, they don't want to put up with that. These people already are fans, and they know what it needs and are not afraid to say, give it its fair chance, give it a little. In production, boost wide, cut narrow, rule of thumb. So boosting is much easier than cutting because you don't want to. You want to remove the offensive thing when you cut, and that's it. When you're boosting, you can go wider. Generally, you're going to have less detrimental impact if you do it wisely. So I can effectively, with other people's profiles, lift up. Here's the thing. The cymbals sound, there's a birth, the life, and a death of a cymbal. And it sounds perfect on the Audeze. It sounds slightly back in the mix, though. It's very obvious. It's not bad. It sounds literally like someone picked up the hi-hats and the cymbals and walked them a couple feet behind the drum kit. perfect, and there, notably, slightly back. The EQ will fix that. So I'm going to review that out of the XLR and EQ impression and without EQ impression. So I'll give both for that. The Meze is also not in your face in the treble, but it's not quite as a little bit back as the Audeze is. They're both impressive. My enthusiasm for the hobby needed a jump start, and I didn't know it until I realized it. And the headphone community and the way that I've been treated and the interaction, even the disagreements have been about music, like hearing this and hearing that. It hasn't been any other stuff. It hasn't been, it's been very refreshing. I don't know what I thought prior, but my impression of the headphone community, not the evaluators, the people that, the end user, the people that buy this gear, is really impressive. So doing a headphone review and then doing an IM review and then doing a headphone review and then an IM review and then maybe a desktop source, that totally is going to be very cool. I want to do that. The IMs, there's a season in China and it slows down everything over there, and a lot of companies in the West also depend on certain stuff, and they also are getting more busy with their releases. So IMs are going to be, they're coming in a giant wave right now. Like I've got tracking for some stuff that people are really anticipating. So IMs are the bread and butter. The butter will be the headphones, because I just enjoy them so much. They play back music in a different way that's more like speakers, which is what most people grew up with. And I'm looking at two sets right now that are pretty damn impressive. I started at the top intentionally because I don't want to start with $200 headphones and work my way up and have people constantly telling me, you know, you ought to get this, and then I get that. And then they say, you ought to get this, and then I get that. Start at the top. I got the SUSVARA. A lot of people think that's one of the best headphones in the business, and I think it's very, very good. And the Meze is highly regarded by a certain crowd, and the HE6se is well respected by people that, because it's got an older brother that's been in 10 years old already, I think, and the Audeze's got a giant fan base. So start with the good stuff, get my bearings, and then evaluate other stuff compared to it. How inferior are they to some of these kick-ass things? I'm going to keep the Meze. I got rid of the Utopia because the Focal Utopia was something that I didn't find to be as pleasing as the Focal Clear, which is different from other people's impressions, but it's my library, and this is, you know, Black Sabbath, Blind Faith, Bob Marley, Cheap Trick, Deep Purple, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Dire Straits. A lot of this is 70s, 80s. I got Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots, Metallica, Kendrick Lamar, the Little Feat, Dixie Chicken's pretty dope. It's all about the music, and some of the headphones are playing back my library like fucking champs, and in a different way than I am. So energized is a good word. I feel stoked. So those reviews will be coming out when the cable comes in. Thank you to the person that offered the copper cable. That was a nice mail to wake up to. I had one yesterday. That was a nice mail to wake up to. I've been getting just constant nice positive vibes going on, and I will continue to do what I'm doing, be very specific. It will always be at 77. It will be out of the same hole, XLR, because I like that hole. It'll be with the same music to start off with, and then it'll maybe focus on what's showing the good and the bad part of the headphone. And I'll try to do the B-rolls and all the other stuff to make the extra effort since everybody's being so cool. That's it for today. The Meze is way better than I expected, because I'm not really familiar with it at all. It just is so comfortable. It sounds so nice, and it sounds like I could listen to it for long periods of time. I dig the hell out of that, because its comfort makes you want to keep it on, and its sound profile makes you also want to keep it on. So there's two reasons to love that. The Audeze is really cool, and it's exactly as people described it, and it's going to make me get into the piece GUI, the APO, and get my fingers back into EQ, and I've got to edit my intro because never using EQ is something I should have left out because I forgot about Audeze. But it's not a problem. I'm totally cool. Thank you, everybody, for your kindness. It is very nice. Rejuvenated, energized, motivated, and I'm out. Live on stage with hoes yelling my name. To be precise, ripping mics is the light of my life. You frontin' like you trifle, never pulled the heist.